Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Absolute first timer. I actually don't know much. We don't know much about the show. It's called Superstar Singer. And I think this was in season 2. It seems this show goes on forever and it has like 7-8 seasons. But this individual, like this young lad, keeps getting sent to us in a lot of like the Instagram and stuff like that, tags and things like that. So we thought we'll check it out individually. And apparently he started really young and now he's like a, grown ass man.
We love those journeys.
Let's give it a watch. There's also another compilation that keeps getting sent to us of his journey.
Okay.
Since he was like a kid and then until
wow.
now. That's always super interesting. We were discussing that the other day on like sometimes it's a shame how sometimes the lack of guidance and sort of a coaching when you're that young, especially as a lad, because you go through puberty and then your voice fucking drops. It's hard to sing. So let's give this a watch. Vale hopefully enlightens us a little bit with knowledge because I have some questions obviously.
Ooh.
What
that is some texturized vocals. Yeah, he's an absolute winner.
Selected him. So it's a bit like The Voice, but you can see him.
Yes,
You know how in The Voice how they like in like X Factor and all that shit. You only press the thing if it's no.
Yeah.
But in X Factor in The Voice you click it.
If you want them in your team.
Yeah,
yes.
and there seems to be teams in this.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. What you gonna say though?
Yes, his vocal texture is actually quite interesting though, because I'm gonna guess he's about 15, 16 years old here, which lets you know that he's still going through that end of that rough phase, vocally speaking, for guys, for kids. To find that texturized sound is actually quite risky. It's one of the things that later on in their careers could potentially be their downfall, technically speaking, because maintaining that raspiness, that growl-like essence to their vocals could actually create damage if it's not aided, if it's not, if it's not guided in the right way. It sounds really cool. It also sounds very mature, as if he's been finding that for a long time. Like this is not a one-off situation. Like he's found something cool about his vocals, and I like that. It's very mature.
That's a good example of
Yeah.
the notices of but I guess youth. Leaving youth behind and finding maturity. It's that
It's
kind
the
of
price that you
awkward
gotta pay.
stage.
Yeah.
However, there are huge signs of maturity in the kid.
Right from the beginning, like even the tonality, like the color of the voice itself already possesses a lot of grounding. So he's already found something that works for him in this really awkward stage of his singing development.
Yep.
But at the same time, this needs to be fixed or enhanced quickly before it becomes
Detrimental.
it becomes
I think he's a grown ass
weapon.
kid now. I think this was when he was young.
It's absolutely stunning though. So good.
Toma!
Okay.
Yeah, he will find his resonance. He will find his sound. Oh, that's sick. Hold on, is that Alka Yagnik?
I don't know.
It can be, right?
I don't know. Her name might be Alka. though.
Alka, right? Because it's Himesh and then I don't know what the other geezer is. Oh, he stood up and shit.
This guy is the best.
Also,
I love this guy.
Yeah, what a great character.
It's
I like
such a great sport.
Great sport. Also, cast that kid to be the soundtrack of a movie.
He got,
Right now.
he-
I don't know. Again, I have no idea when this was. It seems to be recent, or at least it was sent to us recently. But I have no idea. From what I saw as well when I searched up his name, it's like there was a lot of compilations of him being really young and now, which seems to be quite common, or perhaps more common than in other parts of the world. In India, like it seems the music industry does reward that kind of early start. If you're a really young lad, you know, you have the likes of Arman Malik, Sunidhi Chauhan, Shreya Ghoshal, Arijit, every fucking one that you can think of, you know, Sonu Nigam, they're all like, they all started really fucking young,
yeah.
you know?
It's definitely an advantage. He definitely plays to their advantage. But this
They
guy,
start young in the industry.
yeah, but his vocals, like I said, it's not something that is new to him. This is not a fluke of a good day of singing when you're 15 or 16 years old, because that's another thing. The voice is very temperamental during puberty. It's more tangible in guys than it is in girls, but at the same time, you have really good days and then you have terrible days, and it doesn't have anything to do with the gender. It has to do with the change in the body itself. So when you
Yeah, it has
have
to do
a
with biology.
yeah.
Genuinely, right?
It does,
Yeah,
yes.
it's just biology. Like,
Hormones are such a hack.
it's undeniable.
When you
like,
get them right, you have the best days ever, vocally speaking. It's absolutely phenomenal.
it's undeniable that
It is.
the paths are completely different
Yes.
from a young lad to a young lass. Like,
And at the same time, it's one of the toughest transition points for female singers too.
That's true.
It's one of the toughest moments, vocally speaking. But for guys, it's so tangible. For guys, it's so there's an obvious stepping point.
Well,
There's an obvious transition.
I would argue that for lads, that is, arguably the toughest out of the two. However, it's not because it's because they're the guys and then they crack, their voice cracks, because that happens to everyone. But also I think it's because the transition because the hormonal changes as well, like for women and for guys, you usually lose the girls there. You lose them. Like, it's a weird mix between like lack of confidence, not having a sound. And then with the lads, it's a good combination of that. And then for them, it's like, even when I fucking talk, man,
Yes.
I can't get a break.
Yes,
Even
yes.
when I talk, every time you know what I mean? And you're like, what the fuck?
yeah.
But I guess girls have the advantage of that. Doesn't happen when they speak as much, but you're also weirdly in limbo as well. So it's
actually, but you see,
usually that's why girls keep singing a lot of the time. And if you've worked with kids, girls do seem to get past this a bit easier, and you lose all the lads. In singing
definitely-
class, it would just be girls but when you're like at the point of 14, 15, all the kids are like, fuck this.
that's
know what
why
I mean?
that's why you need the right environment, like a judgment-free environment for guys to keep experimenting as they go through that process. And I actually find that once, me personally, just seeing how other teachers like approach this type of moments, it's that when they get a hold of an understanding that the voice is actually under their control, a lot of their speech also improves, because they get to understand the tiny muscles within themselves. Obviously, in the Indian music industry, you got a completely different approach to how to modulate the muscles within the larynx. So I also think that kids, young boys that have started learning to sing classical Indian music, give it Carnatic or Hindustani, they have a really amazing grasp of what they can do within the larynx, within the setting in the muscles in the larynx. So when they hit puberty, like I've been sent a lot of videos of young boys around the ages of between 10 to 17 that have a really good concrete sound to them, and it's like, whoa, that's really interesting. And I think it comes from that discipline of being taught from a really young age.
But he also wants him in his team, right?
I love that he put his glasses on.
Javed. That's Salman Ali, right?
I think so.
I love their mannerism.
Bravo, bravo. I also do think that he's fantastic. He is so solid. He's so grounded that there's only an evolution from there on, and it's a scary one at that, because he's already got such a unique sound to himself. But when you are in that really awkward stage of coming out of puberty, you also have to think about like some of the things that make you unique. You could also lose them, like the diaphonic.
This is fucking him.
That's him? Oh.
इतनी छोटी सीन थी और मोहम्मद फैज ने
Himesh was there as well.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's why he's just like...
Yeah, like is he gonna be able to sing those type of
Bravo.
songs again with
Well,
that
you
range?
lose that treble. All kids lose
No.
that treble, though.
And
They
that's what I
all
mean.
do.
But can you personalize and become a great voice?
Well, you
it's like
see,
yes. However, if you push to keep doing this shit, you misguided. When you're 12, 13, 14, it's just I was looking at this kid. I don't know who we were speaking about, and I wouldn't want to sort of put him on the spot like that. But I just felt so bad because it's like, why still at that age are you attempting that? Like, that's just lack of.
It's also detrimental for the vocal health.
Yeah, but it's also true. But it's
100%.
also lack of guidance. You're a kid. You don't know what's left or right. You know, so.
But you know, in this particular
Pisses me
case,
off, 'cause there was a good voice there as well.
I thought in this particular case, you were gonna lose. He's gonna grow out. I was afraid that he was gonna grow out of that diaphonic edge, a little breathiness
Belt.
that we were hearing towards the end of the phrasing. I thought we were gonna lose it, but it actually
built.
turns out he's always had it, and he's just amplifying that now. Because even when he was a kid, with a treble voice, with a really soft larynx and untouched vocal folds within his larynx,
That sounds like this.
even there, you can still hear the breathiness, that touch of velvetiness throughout the vocals. And now, in the more recent video that we just watched, that thing is amplified instead of something that I thought he developed during puberty.
So it seems to be a year later.
Turn it up.
Damn,
See,
also, that
you
fucking
see-
drama's killing, dog.
Can we just have a moment? That confidence that we're seeing here, that settling that we're seeing in this tiny little performer that is so
The
scarily
one beast.
big, that is actually intimidating to watch. Such a tiny little human be so comfortable in such a horrendous environment with it's so much pressure, you know, like nobody talks about that part of growing up in the stage. But it's really cool to see how settled. That's the reason why that performance with him in the guitar seemed like it was
Easy
just
cake.
like, this is just another day for me.
He seems to have been in a lot of
Fantastic.
sort of shows and stuff.
That's great. It makes sense.
From what I can see, he won runner-up, and then this girl won.
Okay.
She was the winner in 2019. Okay, so he's a kid, and this is probably the most recent thing that we saw.
Right.
And then this is him a bit later.
अपनी वीडियो से लुक
Okay, mate.
कर ले तू भी अब 2022 में
And then
Yeah.
that's him now.
Right.
Okay, fair play.
Right,
you
right,
are
right.
seeing a great evolution.
I do
I'd love to
like-
know what his team is and who he's sort of discussing and making these discussions in terms of songs, how to evolve. I'm really intrigued. There was three lads from the Philippines called the TNT Boys. And one of the most interesting bits, apologies for interrupting, by the way. One of the most interesting things that I liked about their journey more than their fame as kids, because that's temporary. That's the fame on its own. It's already temporary. Everyone's gonna have this happen to them with everything. So I was more intrigued on their evolution as singers rather than their evolution as I guess stars. And with him, it's kind of the same, right? I'm more intrigued into this. I'm so glad we kind of got to see a bit of him as a kid, because I presume, he's probably like 14, max 16.
I think he must be between 15 16 years old.
Because when he looked so young in 2019, he looked like a baby.
I
Maybe he just had a growth spurt, because it was the pandemic, 2021, 2022. Maybe he hit the gym or something. Started doing push-ups in his home, like every kid did.
Yeah. Maybe it's also really nice though. I think the maturity you're hearing, it's obviously been guided. It's being really well molded, and this is the beauty of having the right process, having the right people, the right environment to discover the new things that your voice can do after puberty or during it, because it's like that's the moment where a lot of magical things can happen, and where you can enhance things that as a child were kind of there, but you never really knew how to like work around, like his velvetiness, his breathiness, and like here it's his sound. Like that's what makes him. It's grounded, it's full, it's grown, and if you close your eyes and you don't look at him, that sounds like a grown man. It's a grown man's voice, and you don't hear the young guy growing up. You actually hear a very solid vocal, and that's fascinating to me. That's so good.
Well, I'm intrigued. Faiz, apologies if that's how you pronounce it. I didn't want to pronounce it because I knew I was going to murder it. But let us know what you guys thought about it. And apart from that, goodbye.